In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to get started using actions. Now, actions are basically rules that tell your page what to do. To get started, you want to select actions here at the top of your menu. Then create your first action. You'll notice two things. There's a When Any drop-down that allows you to select a trigger and a Do This drop-down that allows you to select a result. So to get you started, I'm going to show you how to do a really common action, which is a price increase action. Let's say that when a certain date passes, your price increases. So to set that up, all I'm going to do is say when any date is after, and then you'll set the date and time that your price increases. Then I'm going to select Do This, and I'll pick Increase Price from my list of options, and I can choose a dollar amount or a percentage. I'll tell the system how much I want it to increase, and then I'll select the option that that price increase applies to and save. So now, when the date is after January 31st, the price will increase $10 on option 1. Pretty simple, right? Let's do another one. You can use this plus icon to pop open a new action. Now, the actions work from the top down, so if you're setting up multiple price increases, you want to keep that in mind and put them in order. Let's do a show and hide action. So let's say that only registrants that select option 2 get a meal. So I can tell the system when option 2 is selected, show the meal option. Now, if I select the meal option here, that's going to automatically pull in the whole field, but I also have the option of selecting just one of the choices, if that's your use case. But in this case, let's select the whole field. So now, once that's saved, when option 2 is selected, it's going to show a meal option. Another handy thing about actions is they're automatically going to assume that the opposite is true. So that means unless option 2 is selected, this meal option will be hidden. Now, if you're not sure if you're doing it quite right, the best way to test it is to hit preview in the top right corner. Preview mode functions exactly as your live page will function. So you can see here that there's no meal option listed on the page. But if I select option 2, there it is. It shows. So that's really handy if you've got options that you only want certain registrants to see. Now, diving just a little bit deeper, we'll do a third option. In RegFox or RedPodium, you have the option of a registrants in a transaction action or a specific registrant action. A registrants in a transaction action will apply to the number of registrants that register in one order. So for example, you could say if the registrants in a transaction are greater than 3, you could apply a discount, show an option, require a field, all kinds of things. But let's apply a discount because that's a pretty common use case where you want to give 10% off if they register 4 people. So you can tell actions are very literal. They'll basically do anything that you tell them to do. And again, you'll just select one or multiple options where that applies. And now automatically, if I register more than 3 people on the page, then I'm going to get a discount of 10% on my entire order. Now, let's say you don't want to discount the entire order, but you want to apply a discount just to one registrant in the transaction. That's what the specific registrant option is for. So I can apply a specific range and say when the specific registrant is 2 to 3, and you of course could plug in any numbers here. Apply a discount of 10%, and again, you would just select whatever fields that applied to. And the difference is, while this action here at the top is going to apply to all of the registrants in the order and get 10% off registrant 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, the specific registrant action is only going to apply to registrants number 2 and 3, or if you wanted it to just be one registrant, you could say this range, so it's only going to apply to registrant 2. The final thing I'll note, if you really want to get crazy with actions, is we also allow you to add multiple triggers and multiple results. That's what this, all of these must be true option applies to. So let's say that I want 2 things to be true in order for a registrant to get a discount. So let's say the date has to be after January 31st, and I want them to have selected option 2 as their registration option. if I check this box, all of these must be true. Then when the date is after January 31st, but option 2 is not selected, then whatever result I set here won't apply. And again, the same thing applies to the result, where you could decrease the price and hide a convenience fee, and so on and so forth. When you save the action, you'll be able to see all of your triggers and all of your results. Now, if you set up an action that isn't quite working the way that you want it to, of course, you have the option to delete it. Or if they're not in the correct order, you also have the click and drag option to rearrange them. And finally, you want to make sure that you're not applying conflicting actions to the same field on your page. So of course, the best way you can find out if it's working is trying it out in preview mode, and whatever happens, have fun with it and enjoy the automations that Action brings to your page.